Hey. Welcome, everyone, to another live edition of Digital Downs with a special guest here, uh, Bobby Dazzler. Gary, welcome.
Hello.
With a special guest little here. Feedback here. Bobby Dazzler. There we go. Killed that. Yeah, kind of. Thanks for joining in, Gary. We didn't really have any plans, to do this. We just figured we'd do a podcast and just kick it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk the game a little bit. Maybe talk some horses, talk some changes, talk whatever anybody wants to talk about within reason. We'll talk about. Um, let's see. I'm gonna post on Discord here if anybody's got a question. Any? On YouTube. So how you been, Gary?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just enjoying the weekend, sitting back, chilling, waiting on the races tonight. See what happens. See if we can get a few results.
Yeah, you got any special races that you're looking at today, or?
Well, I'm interested to see how She's a Diva goes tonight. She's out running, so she is. She's out tonight. Thing of no race. Had Feel the Rhythm out the other night. That's hard to get races for at the minute. She's only 2-year-old. No graded ways, so I'll maybe try and get her entered over the next week or two, see what comes up, see what's posted.
Yeah, what races you're saying it's hard to get races for her? Is what age?
No, but it's a 2-year-old graded race because the limb's still on and that. No, the way there's not too many.
Yeah, they kick up in the next week or two.
Yeah, it'll kick off in the next week or two and get it
rolling pretty hard. I mean, they got that real big one next week, that the Pegasus Youth.
Yeah,
I think it's on the 29th, and I think that weekend pretty much kicks off.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, well, I have actually. There's a couple in it, so of May in it to see where it fills or not. Hopefully, now that the limit will be over, you'll get a lot of the bigger horses coming out and seeing where they go.
Yeah, when the 2-year-old eliminator final, or what are we in the semifinals?
Semifinals, yeah.
That's what tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be some decent ones in there, and then the one that won yesterday was Poncho's horse. That horse is undefeated.
That seems a big horse, like for a 3-year-old on race to 2. Again, one of these horses that are on race to 2, coming out at 3 and smashing it.
Yeah, I mean, going 5 for 5 in that eliminator is quite impressive.
Yeah.
So I think it's already got over $500 in earnings. Also.
Yeah.
So a great start. I think even the second or third place horse in the 3-year-old final last night has earned over 400.
That's nice.
It's a nice way to kick off the season. It's been, it's typically a little. I don't know how the graded stakes have been running. I haven't really looked as far as the 3-year-old and up. I think there's been some graded stakes racing.
There has, yeah. There's been a few.
I'm obviously everything's pretty much gonna rev up from this standpoint, and also for the folks that are interested in running for the virtual Triple Crown, all of those lead up races are posted. And same thing with the Oaks. So if you're interested in running in the Philly only Oaks, all those lead up races are already posted as well. And what's funny to me is that I constantly hear from people that they don't know where to find stuff, and sometimes I wonder, is it set up wrong, or do people just not know how to use the website? Because it's
all you have to do is go to the BC racing schedule, and it gives you all the lead up races and everything else.
Right? Yeah, you just go to racing office.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're looking at the Triple Crown and you want to know what's going on, you go to the TC series. And it's going to show you the Triple Crown, right? So you can click this one. This is just the Triple Crown by itself, right? It's going to show you all 3 races and the dates. So April 1st, April Fool's Day, is the virtual Derby, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go to racing office and you go down to TC Series and go TC Series point leaders, these are all the lead-up races for the Derby. And there's quite a few of them.
It's all
Nine. I
there.
think there's nine lead up races for that for the So you'll see the standings kick up here. You know what I mean? And then those best horses then would then race in the actual Triple Crown.
Yeah, the first race is the night, isn't it? For that Triple Crown.
The what?
The first lead up race is the night for the Triple Crown.
Is it? I didn't see. Let me see. I'll check. Go to TC Point Leaders. First race is January 21st. Tonight is the first lead up race for the Triple Crown. The Regulate Stakes. Good pickup by you. I didn't notice that.
I only noticed it there now myself. I don't even know I have anything entered in that.
Let me see. Happy Clapper. Yeah, there's a bunch of stakes here. Damn, how many races we got going here?
There's quite a few tonight.
Where's the... Wow, this is crazy. I guess they're running right now, frankly.
Yeah, they've all started there. They're starting to go.
The Regulate... There we are.
I missed that. I didn't even realize there was one going tonight for the Triple Crown.
Dynabeast is in there. This horse won the Juvenile Classic?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, $1,500.
I think it broke the track record the other night.
Whoa.
It did. It broke the track record the other night.
So I guess that horse survived. They changed on.
Yeah. Maybe improved.
Crazy.
There's a classic Wish.
The Pinchette.
Look at the race rating of that race that it won as well. 115. That's one of the higher ones.
Yeah. Let's see. What is going on here? Sorry, man. I'm dealing with some issues here. Alan, winner. Alan. Welcome, Alan. Winner. I'm not sure which race he won, but congratulations, I guess.
Absolutely.
That horse. So, guy, you got anything you want to discuss?
No, I just thought I'd come on, and if you wanted to bounce a few things. What about them changes that you were showing it the other night, about each race, what percentage and all? Is that going on to the profile page when you sort it all out?
Yeah, let me try to show that right now, actually. Yeah, so we're working on a new stable profile page that's easier to access for all stables. And then we're also gonna link up everybody's anytime you see your stable name, we're gonna link it up so that basically that's a link. You can click the person's stable name and it'll take you to their stable profile page. And then that will let's pick a stable. Let's pick up. We'll go Bobby Dazzler. How's that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Only problem is since it's not live yet, I gotta send it to myself and then open it. So
when's the sort of expected date for this to go live? Or
I mean, I can put it live tonight, but it's still missing information. So like there's additional pieces that I'm adding to it, right? So like that's not installed yet, but I could actually make what I'm about to show you. Hold on a second. I don't really want to be showing my name out there, but. I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. Oh boy, that was stupid.
Let's hope it works a bit faster when it goes live.
Yeah. Nah, I was looking at something else.
Stop getting sidetracked, Bob. Focus on the job in hand.
I know. So okay, here we go. We'll share this screen right here. Window. Let's go. So this is a new page that we're working on. It's not 100% complete yet, but like put it this way, like this is going to show you the snapshot data per season. You can see the season over here, 54, 53, 52, right? And I might make that a drop down too, so you can drop down into it so it doesn't take up much of your screen. But what we're going to do in the future is, and this is why I said it's not done, like you'll be able to click on whatever season you want. So if I wanted to click on this season here, as soon as I click on that, it'll show me all of the races you've been in for the season.
Right.
All the results that you've had, where your finish, start was, speed rating.
Yeah. It gives you a percentage, what sort of class you're running and everything else.
Yeah, it's like you're like your my stable your in the racing office, you have that area that you can go my races.
Yeah.
And there's that option for the detailed look of the race results with the shortcut. So it'll be sort of like that, but for all of your races that the public can see.
Yeah, well, I think that's good. I think it's good.
And then every single one of those are clickable. Like you can click into the race, you can just click the horse, you can click, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just free flowing data, you know?
Yeah.
Then, we have this section here that's going to show you your top active horses, right? Your top sires by foal earnings, top mares by foal earnings, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously you can click on those. And then, so people want to make offers, or if they want to contact you for breeding, all this information is going to be there. So there's just much more information.
That first one there says top active. Is that top active breeder? Because they're all breeders. See, top active horse. They're all breeders.
Pretty little thing.
Yeah, they're all retired to breed, and every one of them horses.
Right. So what they did yesterday, so I had them update this side yesterday.
Right.
And then they'll update this one next. So what they were doing was basically using all data for all time. So, and I have to check this, but I went back and told them this has to be full earnings total over here, and it's for retired. So there shouldn't be any like active horses in here.
Well, there is active horses in there. Doodlebug's still active.
Which one?
No, over the lot there. Yep, there. That's
still active. So like that's what I mean. Like so that's why it's not live yet, because like they like this is a retired horse.
Sorry, Miss Dunbar still active. It isn't retired in the first column. All the rest are retired, but Miss Dunbar isn't retired.
No. The left column is for your active horses that aren't retired. These are like your racers.
No, they're all retired apart from Miss Dunbar.
That's no. I know. I understand that they didn't get to that yet. But that side will only be for active when they're done.
Right.
Right now it's showing all. It's all horse.
Yeah.
This side here should be retired only, and I have to double check that to make sure that these are all retired.
Yeah, they're all retired. I can tell you.
And that's what I asked them to fix yesterday, and then now I'll ask them to fix this part.
Right. Okay.
This part here we're working on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To build that in, and then we added this part here, which is more detailed information on how you've been running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is for this season, I think. Right.
Yeah.
Like current season. Like you can see, like your dirt is 11% this season.
Yeah.
If I went to season 53, I've never tried this. I don't even know if it's gonna work. Let's see. 53. There you go. 9% on dirt, Gary. You got to pick your dirt up.
Need to pick a lot up. As I was looking out there at the start, season 46, it was near 11,000 a season. Now I'm down to about 3,000 or 4,000 a season in certain races.
And
but that'll be a good addition there, even for the likes of your breeders and stuff like that there, you know, to see what they're producing. And
yeah. I mean, it's just added information. We'll keep adding. I think this section right here is important to pay attention to because, like, I looked at a couple stables already, and like you could see like where their weaknesses are, right?
Yeah.
So like you'll see somebody that's really dominant in sprints, not dominant, but let's just say they're more successful in sprint races, and as soon as you go to route races, all their data drops off. So they're just not. They don't have a good enough grasp yet on, you know, splits or routing numbers or whatever it may be, because they're not as successful. You know.
Tell me this: what are you classifying as sprint now? You're classifying from 2 furlongs up to 7 furlongs, and then from 1 mile up to 1.5 miles for route.
Yeah, so if I want to do the cutoff is basically a mile, between 7 furlongs and a mile. So it's like, right now, and for as this data is concerned, sprint would be anything from 2 furlongs to 7 furlongs, and a mile is, anything that's a route would be a mile and up. Now, obviously,
I'm just trying to confirm that, so everybody knows what we're talking about.
That's what we're doing. But we always talk about classic horses and classic distances. So the classic,
used to run from 7 furlongs to 1.125 was sort of the class.
Yeah, 7, maybe a mile and a quarter, who knows? But yeah, so I know that's not in there, but we refer to things as classic, but that's kind of where you would see that wheelhouse be. But anyway, when this data page is up, is I think it's useful once we use it, not just for this, but also when you click on the races and you can see the race history for yourself. Actually, if you click on yourself, or for somebody else, it would pull up all of your races and they're all clickable and you can see the results. And
I do think that's a good addition. I really do. I think that's going to be a big thing. It'll help a lot of stables and everything else, When it comes to
the other thing we added was we added the let's see. We added the earnings per race. We added it, average earnings per race. We added it on your horse page, and we also added it on as a stable.
Yeah, that's on the front page. I took away the stakes wins. That's under the stakes wins was.
Yeah. So, and it's important to know that because, in the future, we're going to change a lot of our jockey, or, all of our jockey selection criteria to first look for average earnings per race by horse.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a number to pay attention to, and it rewards people that actually. I'm not saying that rewards people that race high races. It just it rewards people that have a conditional or progressive system as far as how they enter their horses, right?
Yeah.
The idea is to race, and if you do well, to move up in class, right? To push the limits of your horse. And not base everything off of wins, where you have a horse that should be in a maiden special weight 50, but instead is running in a maiden, 20 or a maiden claimer 20.
Yeah.
For a win. So it's going to reward the people that push the limits because, for instance, a blue blood maiden, you might make $50 in third place. I don't know, but let's say you finish third in a blue blood maiden and you earn $50, right?
Yeah.
A regular maiden race, the purse is a maiden 50K. That's just the whole purse. You would only get 30K of that 50 for winning. So,
it's giving you that advantage in the next race to a certain degree, even though you didn't win because you have the earnings.
You didn't win. Good point. You didn't win the race, but because you have a higher average earnings per race, you'll get the jockey's choice on the next race.
Yeah, well, I think I actually had a horse at one time. It had run something like 8 maidens, but it had earned 170 odd in earnings. But never won a race. It was still a maiden. you know.
Right.
And even when I was entering the Lance, it was getting beat back with because it hadn't won a race where the horses were in that had won races were getting the pick of the jockeys, you know.
Yeah, so that's those are a couple things that have been added. I know we added something else too. I can't. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. We made some more adjustments to the basic membership. We were, our intention. We made some changes with membership overall over the last few weeks. Obviously, people are aware of that, but the way that I would like to see it work, and it's not quite there yet, is that the way I would like to see it work is if you're logged in, if you're not logged into the site, or if you're not registered, or if you're not logged in, either or, when you visit the site, you see the site, but you have very limited access. Okay?
Right.
Because you're not logged in and you're not a member. So it makes sense. And I'd like to see it go from there to when you're logged in, that you're automatically under a lifelong basic membership. Okay. And basic membership grants you full access to the site. Okay. Whereas prior to this season, a basic membership or subscription actually was, I think there was a fee to that. Okay. And then you had a choice of which way you wanted to pay it. You could use bonus credits or game credits, whatever you wanted to do. But the point is that you were actually expected to pay for your basic membership. So we've removed that from the game. Because the basic membership, if you didn't have it, that means you couldn't see races, you couldn't enter races, you couldn't sell this, you couldn't sell that, whatever it was. But from my point of view is that it just wasn't set up correctly. So the premise was, let's have a basic membership that grants full access to everybody. They can see everything. They can see all the races. And then we have the gold membership for people that want to pick up the additional perks, right? So it's not 100% there because, I was talking to another stable yesterday, Dynamo. He was having problems seeing races and stuff because his basic membership basically expired.
Yeah.
Right. And there was no way to extend the basic membership because my request was that there's no need to extend the basic membership because it's now basically it's a lifelong basic membership.
Yeah,
so I sent Darren, Darren had sent me a couple of messages. He confirmed that he was still having problems. I shot that over to programming, and then within a couple hours we got that resolved. Now I went and asked Darren again. Do you have that? He said now he had full access, no issues whatsoever. And then I talked to the programmers, and they said that I shouldn't have the issue again, that he's made it basically a forever basic membership. So hopefully that sticks.
Yeah.
And from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the login and registration screen to be that you don't have any access to the site. You can't dig down deeper into horses or races or players or whatever unless you're logged in.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to log in to get your membership.
Right. So, and that'll go from there. Now, once that's tweaked, then I'm going to work on additional stuff for the gold membership, like, for instance, the discounts. So you make bonuses for racing on gold membership. You make sire bonuses, state bred bonuses. We're also, as part of the perks, we're also going to be adding a discount to selling auction. The fees. We're going to offer discount on the fees that are applied to people that are making transactions. So for instance, if you sell a horse now for 20% fee, you might in the future sell a horse and it'll be 15% fee because you're a gold member.
And 20% is very high, like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to start somewhere, but here's the thing. If you're not a gold member, then that's what it should cost you.
No, well, I get what you're saying, but even though I'm a gold member, 20% is still high. Like.
Yeah, I know, but in the future, you're not going to pay 20%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. But if I'm selling the horse, I'll not be. Say somebody buys that horse off me, I'll not be getting 20% deducted. Like it'll be coming down. You know. Say somebody made an offer of my horse there, say $100 just to keep it simple. At this moment in time, I'm losing $20 of that. I'm only ending up with $80 of that. You know what I mean?
Right. Or you raise the price. But in the future, like I said, that discount, the discount will be there for people that are gold. right?
Mhm.
I can't get away from site fees. The fees are going to be there to help facilitate the site, right? And at the
Yeah,
same
I
time,
get that.
we keep removing fees. We remove gelding fees. We remove the scratch fees. We removed, you know what I'm saying? So like there is a trade-off that has to happen with some of this stuff. And in order for it to work the way we want it to be is we want to reward gold members for their commitment to the site.
What
So,
is the auction fees at the minute? Say I sold a horse in auction. Is
you
that
know,
20?
I actually don't know off the top of my head, but I believe it's between 12.5% and 15%.
Yeah, I thought it was on around that. That's why it was sort of a bit.
I think right now, if you sell a breeder, I believe that's 15. And that's the other part of this guy. If you notice that everything that I'm doing is a part of streamlining stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like, and unfortunately I can't do it all in a day. Like, so it's like streamlining memberships, streamlining jockey stuff, streamlining the sales process, even if you need the new sales page, whatever it may be, everything's about clean streamlining. This falls right into that. If you look, I step back and I look at this, I say, why do we have different fees for everything? Like, why is claiming or why is claiming one thing? Why is auction another percentage? Why is selling a breeder a percentage? Why is selling an active horse a percentage? To me, it just doesn't make any sense, right? So to me, the transaction fee should be the fee. It should be the flat fee of whatever it is. That's the base fee to do this. So you know exactly that no matter if it's auction, sold, or whatever, this is the fee. And then you know also what is the fee if you're a gold member because it's a discount.
Yeah,
right?
Well, you're paying that money up front too, like to get that, aren't you? That's what you know.
Some of it, like I think it's 10% or greater. So like if you sell a horse for 10,000, it's 10%. So it's one. So we take the 1% out. I mean, we take the 10% out front, and 10% on the back end, right? So for 10K, we take the 1K. If it sells, then you take the other 1K for the 20%. You know.
Yeah. I get that, like but it was just the fact that auction. I know it wasn't 20% in auction. When you sold a horse in auction, it wasn't 20%.
No,
but you're paying your $2 up front to enter the horse into the auction.
Yeah, which is all calculated too. Obviously, if you sell the horse, it's all built in like that, and the fees are lower for auction because we want to. The idea is, you want to have that auction activity. I think once the bonus kicks in and then you see the discount for the sales and stuff, I think, then it'll make a little bit more sense. And then we build out the benefit page of the memberships because then you'll be able to see basically the benefits of being a gold member versus a basic member because there's clear benefits of being a gold member. And one of them is going to be on the selling side. And not to mention, listen, and that's what I tell everybody about this. Like, in this, the fees are the main way. Basically, the site is going to generate its revenue, right?
Yeah.
So
I get that. Like,
I get it. That's what I'm saying. When people say to me, "Oh, well, I'm never going to sell anything." Okay, well then don't sell anything because it's the bottom line is that if you want to profit, like people come in and say they want to profit, they want to sell horses. In order for you to make money, then the site needs to make money. You know what I mean? So that's never going to go.
Don't get me wrong, and don't take. But when you're selling a horse, should you not have a cutoff fee where the site says, right, well, we'll take maximum of $30 or $40 per transaction for the horse?
No, I don't think so. I think that if you sell a horse for $10,000, we should get our fair cut. I mean, we're the platform and we're the conduit to make that allows you to be able to sell that.
Mm-hmm. So, even if you went over a certain percentage or went over a certain price, could you not cut the percentage down slightly?
No, I think it's a valid point, but here's the difference. If you're a basic member, then no, there shouldn't be anything special given to you. If you're a gold member, this is where the discounts will kick in and stuff like that you're talking about now. That's a possibility. Mm-hmm. These are only possibilities for gold members.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is, because a lot of people might turn around and say, right, well, you sold a horse for £1,000 or $1,000, but the site's taking $100 out, or no, $200 out if it's 20%. So you end up with $800. Well, I'm saying, like, should the site not say, right, well, we'll take a maximum of $100 on £1,000 transaction to make it fair for the seller and the buyer and everything else.
Well, and that's where we look at things differently. Someone looks at it from a seller standpoint, and someone looks at it from a business standpoint, right?
I'm just asking questions.
No,
I think
I get
other people would want to ask. You know what I mean, or hear the answer to.
No, Gary, it's a valid question, but it's a good conversation. The bottom line is, but we tend to only stay in our lane and think about it. I don't want to say selfishly, whether it's me or whether it's you. We think about it from our own current situation. So if I'm a stable and I'm a seller, then obviously I'm going to think about it from my side only, and I don't want to pay anything. That's the premise.
No, right? I know the site has to get, but what I am saying is, like, if you had an auction full of horses there, right? And
I get it, Gary. But the thing is, I don't mean to cut you off, but I know what you're saying. But see, then if you cut it off, if you change it, then there's no incentive for the company or the site to then increase value. Because if the site is only going to is capped, if the site is capped, then there's no reason to push for better site, better value, better everything, because I'm capped. Right?
I get what you're saying, but like what I am it's not every day horse values will go up eventually. In my opinion, I definitely think they'll go up because there's more horses earning more money all the time on the site. There's more money in the game. Horse values are going to have to start rising at some point. You know, there's always the argument they won't and they will and everything else. But, you know, what I'm saying is the likes of, say you had 100 horses in auction. There's 2 of them in for $1,000. 2 of them sell. One of them sells for $1,000. The other one doesn't. You know, why could that not be capped? You know, that one to $1,000 capped at $100 for the site. It's not like you'd be getting crucified all the time with big sales.
No, it's like, Gary, you know what I liken it to? I liken it to, let's say, someone that says, we don't accept American Express. Right? We don't accept American Express. Why? Oh, because their fee is 1.5% higher than MasterCard.
Yeah.
Well, to me, that's a ridiculous way to think, because if what you should do is just wrap the 1.5%. Either way, whether from the company should basically wrap that 1.5% into the pricing. Right?
Yeah.
Or like it's like maybe that wasn't a good analogy, but basically it's the same thing with they don't accept American Express because of the fee. Well, you're cutting your own sales down because you're not accepting the card.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like, we should be putting the percentage into the price of our horse.
Right. It's not. It should never be mine.
That's scaring people off from buying horses in, because they're saying you're inflating your price to cover the site fees. You know, there's different ways of looking at them.
Yeah, the fees are the fees, though. But I mean, if it was me and I'd say, look, if I was going to sell a horse for $50 and I was concerned about losing out on $10, right? To me, the price would be $60.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's not.
The seller does that as putting people off from buying it as well.
Hey, listen, all those things aren't they're not really things that I can control, right? Because no matter which way I do it, if I make it, Gary, if I make it free,
I know. I'm not saying make it free. All of us talking.
But Gary,
I'm going to have a certain price.
I get you, but if I make it free, I have the same issues. They don't go away. The value issue is still going to be there. If I make it 50%, then basically you're going to cut off a lot more selling, right? But the ones that you do sell, you'll collect 50% on, and then you have to figure out the numbers. What's the proper? It's like a supply and demand thing, right?
Yeah.
So, I feel that 20% is fair, and if you're a gold member, you pay less.
Oh, well, that's fair enough. If the gold member is going to get less, because I'm a gold member, I do keep the gold member thing up, But as I say, it's just something I know other people have said, like 20%. And if I didn't know what the plan was or anything else, so you have to ask the question, like.
No, I get it. And you have to look at it. There's also other elements of it that people don't think about, because basically it's a seller only thing. The only people that are concerned about it are people that are selling. And then you have to look at the people that are selling. Some people are in the selling business. That's what they do, right? Some
Yeah.
people aren't. That's fine. And there's some people that are selling out or causing problems, and then they sell out when they leave, or whatever it may be, for whatever reason it be, right? And so there's a, even though those fees were important, even from that standpoint, if someone comes in and they're trying to, let's say they come in, they close out a stable, they need to make sure they pay the appropriate fees while they're selling their horses, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's there's a couple different boxes that need to be checked. But I must say it's a good topic. I'm not hiding from it. And I would say that once it's kicked in with the gold membership, then we can have another discussion, because then we'll be able to see side-by-side boxes on the site that show what the fees are for basic, for everything, and then what the fees are for gold.
Yeah.
And then we can have another discussion that says, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fair
No,
point.
it's just something I wanted to ask, because it did go through my head. Like, would there be like a cap fee? If a horse had a certain price, there'd be a cap fee on it and stuff like that. Maybe something like that with gold membership you could think about. I don't know. It's just something I'm throwing out.
I don't know. I think it depends on how you look at it, right? Like a cap is more like socialism. No cap is more like capitalism. It depends on what kind of person you are. Yeah.
No, fair point. Like, as I said, like, I get it from the site's point of view as well. Like, but what I am saying is, what I was just trying to get across was, if it hits a certain amount, there should maybe be a cap on it, because it could. Who knows what prices horses are going to go for in the future or anything else, And I know you'd be rubbing your hands the higher they go, like the more you're making, like, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd get that.
It'll work out, and I'm a reasonable person, and I just want a fair balance at the end of the day, and that's what we're shooting for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we'll get there.
Yep, we'll get there. Tell me this, and what about the crown races? I thought you had mentioned that they might be running last season at the end of last season. Remember the crown races you done 2 seasons ago? All the best horses out of the different finals.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that anymore, or what is your thoughts on that? Because they were great races, like.
Yeah, it's hard. My guess there's a couple issues with the crown races to see what's best for everybody. Like, number one would be, where do you slot them, right? Because come the end of the season, it gets pretty difficult, because you have your look, for the folks that don't know, that are watching, we have our season is every 4 months. Okay. So basically, we run a year's worth of stuff in 4 months. So it's a very fast-paced game. We don't have time to sit here and acquire a horse and wait 4 months for it to, I'm going to spend $10 on a horse or whatever it is, and then I'm going to wait 4 months for my $10 to hit the track. Like, that's ridiculous. What we do here is, we race, pretty quickly. It's every 4 months. So it's basically a sped up, condensed schedule. Now, when you talk about where to slot the crown races, that you have the Triple Crown races, and then you have the BC championships, and then you have the World Day stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the World Day stuff is actually pretty popular.
Yeah.
So
but you see, I think the crown races would fit in well amongst the World Series or the World Day stuff. You know what I mean? On the last day of the season or whatever. If you had the top horses from each distance in that 1 mile race, I thought they were great. The first season you done them, like, I thought they were a big success. I think everybody enjoyed them, like, because you were getting the best horses from each distance and banging it in.
Yeah, no, I think it was great too. It's good. It's probably something to look at. I have a slot issue, and then also from an added money standpoint, we also now have an issue with that, because the BC races were, that was the highest amount of added money we've ever added into an event like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot, for a condensed season. You know what I mean? It was great for all the members, but it was definitely way over what was budgeted. Okay. And it's not even close. Now, the crown, I believe, we funded with added money. Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of where not only slotting it in, because that's actually a real issue, but a secondary issue is is purse money for that, because there really isn't the proper amount of added money additional added money to add to those type of races. If you think about it, because then you're talking about another set of 9 races at least minimum. They're big races, the best horses in each class, right?
Yeah.
So the people that have these races and they're racing the best horses together in each or maybe it could be 3 races. I can't remember. Did we run like
it was one in each age? There was a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and 4-year-old. It was I think it was the first couple out of the sprints, first couple out of the classics, and first couple out of the route, and they all run over a mile. Threw them all into a mile race. Not the way it worked.
So even if you did 3, you have to look at it. It's possible, but again, it comes down to like, if you want to race for that, does the member feel like there should be a lot of added cash added to that because of the type of race that it is? And I don't want to shortchange or diminish anything because we didn't throw a lot of added money at it. You know what I mean? Like if you run a crown race, it's a big race, but if there's no added cash, does it carry the same value or the same feel to it?
Yeah. Well, I suppose that. And then, if you start the whole thing about a rake towards it and all that, it starts complicating matters even more and everything else, doesn't it? Like,
well, the meat awards, look, there's so many moving parts right now. And in some ways I apologize for it, in other ways I don't, because we have to move forward. And I don't have time to sit back and wait, right? So meat awards, a lot of other things in the past were created to generate more interest, more action, more activity, to include more members, okay? Not the strongest 3 members. No disrespect to the top stables. They've done their job, okay?
Yeah.
But a game evolves. So when we, the last way we did the meat racing is way better than the previous meat racing. And I know I had a debate forever with Candy on Discord about you wouldn't see a difference. No, we saw a difference because different people, it may be the same lot of folks involved, but different people were winning these meets. Okay. Yeah. And we, with the sales ring and creation, basically, to help, build the community and build horses and invite people in. And that worked well also. But we're trying to move now towards, we've accomplished that. We're now trying to move to the next step. Okay. And the next step is then to basically have this whole home breeding thing reborn. Okay. Yeah. And when you look at the meat racing awards, okay, they were dominant as far as sales ring goes, as far as what we pay out.
Yeah.
Right. So everything was basically geared towards win sales ring vouchers, win blue tickets, win this one. We want to be out of that. We want to be, hey, let's support the breeding, win breeding vouchers, win this, win that. Right. And at the same time, we wanted to take the money, not half, but a good chunk of the money from the meat racing and put it into races for the month.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it's easy for us just to get rid of something, but we actually like the meat racing, but we needed to curb it a little bit, curb the rewards as far as sales ring goes, and then also put money into racing. We did the same thing with the handicapping contest. Instead of the awards being focused on sales ring vouchers and sales ring, we changed it to breeding vouchers.
Yeah. Well, I think that does make sense to try and get the breeding thing up and running even more. Like, like even there in the last auction, like I was like, fair play to Paul, like, he took a chance, put all his breeders in a £2, which would have cost him to put them in at, like, and if they hadn't have sold, he was given, or if somebody had just bid the £2 on them, he was giving away the horses for nothing, because there's £2 fee, and then he done well out of them all, like,
yeah,
which I think is maybe a good thing, because people have got their own breeders now and everything else. And I say the next auction, I might load the next auction up with a load of breeders just to see what way it goes. Like,
yeah.
What do you reckon, mate? Start focus on the job at hand, will you?
I'm listening. I got 2 ears and 2 eyes. I can look and hear. I can hear talking about breeders. I mean, I expect the breeding value to go up. I seen a conversation the other day talking about, what the breeders earn. There's breeders that have a lot of full earnings. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you basically apply that to graded stakes and say, well, I have a potential to earn 10% of those full, or you can do the math. And someone said you'll never see a breeder to earn $1,000. No, that's completely wrong. You absolutely will.
Yeah.
I mean, a $400 race that you win, if you win 400 in one of these races, 10%, that's $40 alone. One race, one horse.
Yeah.
To think you're not going to get to 1,000 is.
When is all the bonuses active at the minute for the gold members, or when are they?
I believe they are. Let me see. Trying to find my little shortcut. Bear with me 1 sec. I'm gonna look this up and get the answer for you.
Yeah, no, I was just curious about whether they're all active or whether they're not active or what's happening with them.
Right. So prior to today, it was active and it was active at 5%. Okay.
Right.
Today it's 10%.
That's the breed bonus, sire bonus.
The what?
The breeders, that's the breeding bonus, the sire bonus.
Sire bonus is, well, I mean, I don't want to confuse the two, because now that we have this actually working correctly, the breeding bonus is a separate bonus that's coming out. So let's just stick with, from the terminology, let's just stick with sire bonus.
Okay? Yeah, no, that's all right. That's all it was. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So the sire bonus right now is 10%. And like it doesn't seem like, there's guys that are making, even on, I have to check this race to see. This one here is 24,000. Like, that sire bonus is $24 on this one race.
$24? You know what I mean?
Huh?
That's not bad. $24. Like,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. One race is $24. That's pretty. It's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that must be a $240 prize, then, was it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is it? I wonder if they're doing 5%. It might still be 5%. I think it's the way it's supposed to be tiered and structured. Is the sire bonus is supposed to be 5%, the breeder bonus is supposed to be 5%, and then the foal bonus is supposed to be 5%.
Right.
So the total bonus available of 15%. Now, you won't get all 15 because you may not own the foal. You may only own the sire.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe you bred the horse and discarded everything else. You know what I mean? So you may only get the 5%. Now, there's some people that, may benefit, differently. They may own the sire, bred the horse, and own the foal. You know what I'm saying? Like, so again, with the gold membership, the same as talking about selling discounts or whatever. Like, these are the next steps for the benefits for gold. The next one coming in is the breeder bonus.
Yeah.
And that one will be easier to do. It won't be so hard. It won't be, as far as programming goes, we'll probably be able to slide that in within a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to deal with. But yeah.
No, I was just sort of wondering what way, what way it was all working and why everyone was actually physically up and running now.
Yeah, I mean, we've been paying them out. I mean, I can see the list here. I see everybody that's received it. You haven't had one since January 11th.
Which is, I thought there may have been a few more there, but there wasn't. But I can't argue because I haven't really had many running. So.
Yeah, it's got to be first, second, or third in a BC graded.
Yeah.
But I see some guys definitely capitalize on them pretty well. Hold on a second.
So what about your new baby? What about your new viewer? How's it coming on?
You want to see the new viewer?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So listen, I don't know if you're aware or not, but one of my bucket list items here for Digital Downs for quite some time has been to improve the viewer, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I think that the Unreal viewer, the 3D viewer we use, is fantastic. It served its purpose. But the major drawback of that viewer is that you have to download software. Okay. And if you want, as soon as you have to download software, then you're susceptible to individual people's hardware, their own computer, their hardware, what they're using for a system, how fast their speed is, their memory, what is their antivirus or security issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, so while the Unreal Engine has been fantastic for us, the biggest drawback has been that it has to have downloaded software, and basically it depends on what each individual's computer will do. On top of that, you can never actually share your content. You can't share a race. You can't do any of these things in this modern era where everything's so fast and social media and and spreading how to build the game. We're never really able to do that. In order to do that, we would have to do like a 5-step process of recording the race, putting it into the production program, then downloading or uploading it to YouTube, and then sharing a link. It's like a 10-step process for one race. And then you get so tired of it that sometimes you just need a 3-month break from it because you're burnt out, So a big thing for us, we have many things that we're working on in the background that people aren't even aware of. The Unity thing, though, has been something that we've been wanting to do for a very long time. So we basically have developed a new 3D viewer from Unity. Okay. It's fantastic. It's still it's about 85% complete. Okay. It's free running in your browser. It runs on all of your iOS and iPads and Android devices. It like I said, there's no download required. It plays with the click of a link and can be shared anywhere. It's the future, what we're trying to do, and we're so happy to finally be able to bring this to you. And we think that it's going to be a better experience for everybody here, but also help us promote the game in ways that we've never been able to promote it before. Okay, which is beneficial to everybody. Okay, so we've put some time, obviously some capital into this, but the bottom line is it's for the future, and so we couldn't be happier. So what I'm going to do, I know that the guys that are developing this for me won't be happy about this, but what I'm going to do is, because these guys they care about their work. They don't really want to see people to see it without being a finished product, and that's why I'm not really posting it on Twitter or anywhere else or things like that. But if you're watching right now, you'll be able to see it right now. Just don't tell anybody else. Okay. So, what we'll do is we're gonna load up the what was it, Gary? The Eliminator from last month, right? So we're gonna load up the 3-year-old Eliminator on the new Unity viewer. Now, mind you, listen, it's not complete, so I understand you're gonna see things that don't look right or whatever it is. We understand. We know this. Okay, we're going through the process. So you're seeing a version of this while it's still under production. So consider yourselves spoiled. Privilege. There you go. So, and what we'll do is we'll go through a couple different angles, and there's so much more you can do with this. There's so much more interaction. Gary got a sneak peek of it, and I think he enjoyed it. Yeah, let me see what we can do here. So basically, this is the opening screen of what you will see. These guys aren't going to like this. I hope they're not watching. All right. So what you're going to see, this is the opening screen. So like when you go to a race, it'll have this opening screen here. It just shows you basically the race list as far as who's in the race. And as you can see in the background, you're kind of getting a switching camera, different views of the track. It's just like, until you're ready to go. Now, obviously in the live feed, it'll be different. It'll just go race to race. But if you're going to watch a race, you're just going to click on watch race or whatever button you use. It's going to take you right into your URL, and it's going to load the race. You can see above here where the URL is. It's playing in the URL. There's no software required. Okay. Now, if you go down here, you can just click play. Now, when you play, if you click play and you just let it run, it's going to give you a look of like when you're watching at home on TV, right? It's going to switch cameras on its own. It's not going to be too far zoomed in. It's not going to be too far zoomed out, but it's going to just going to follow the race around, you know? So like this view right now, I believe is the TV view. We call it the trackside view. And I believe that it's going, see how it switches views on its own? It basically will follow this race around the track and switch cameras as it goes. That's Greco out front there, by the way. Make it clap. Make it clap. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people that watch this that may not want to choose this view because they want to get more personal with the horses up and close. You'll have those options, and I can show you that then too. I can show you that later. Another thing too is you can toggle this box here to the left. You can make this collapse and go away. So, a little cleaner screen.
You can pick what horse you want to follow and all, like the old viewer you were saying as well.
Yeah, you're right. So I don't want to do that right now because it's on the trackside view, but like I'm going to show a different view after this, and then you can, and we'll go through the different. And obviously, I'll do another video once this launches, but this is kind of just like a sneak peek. And you can see I'm not doing anything at all. It's just following this race. This is not me clicking buttons. This isn't Black Ace on one of his podcasts clicking the screen to change the view of the horses. For that, now we can actually have races run without Black Ace. If he has to go take a nap, the race will still run and the cameras will still switch. And as you see, the horse come down to the finish line here. And obviously, the finish line still needs some work, but you can see we're building a pretty good finish line here.
He's all the way out the back.
That horse was way back from the get-go. I mean, as soon as the race broke, it was so.
You didn't think it was one fit. You didn't think it hadn't been trained.
It makes it look longer too, because it's slow motion in the finish, and the guy's like 100 yards behind. So, obviously the finish line will be finished off the scoreboards and stuff, but all the ads. Now,
will the times be up on them scoreboards, Bob?
Huh?
Will it be showing the times up on them boards around? Just
yeah, I think initially we're just gonna. It'll probably show just like some mock-up, odds and stuff like that to give the look of a scoreboard.
Yeah.
It'll say digital downs above that, and there'll be some ad boards and stuff of real ads that we can put in there. But for right now, we're gonna put a placeholder on the odds and the payouts and stuff like that, just because it's really irrelevant to what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
The exactness of it would be irrelevant, but we're trying to give that presentation. So anyhow, you can click replay, and it'll replay the race. It'll go right back to the beginning. Okay. And you see it loads very fast. Now I'm going to show you some different views, and like I said, different capabilities, and we'll just do this real quick, and then I'm going to jump off of it because it's not finished, and I don't want to piss anybody off. But we'll go back to play. You can see now I'm switching camera angles. Okay. Sort of like the old way, you know what I mean?
You have a full 360 view on all you were saying as well.
Yeah. So full 60 view. So let me go to the outside view. I'm gonna zoom out. I can actually turn this camera 360 degrees around live racing while you're racing. I can, zoom in and do it as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, this experience is much better, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Gary?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you can actually get on the jockey or on the horse's back, can't you? You were saying there's like a jockey.
Yeah. You can ride the jockey. So let's ride a jockey. Let's go find the jockey camera. You have two different camera options, drone and camera. We'll go find a jockey. Now this is the jockey in front of me, right? I'm on this horse right here. Okay. So you have a jockey view. You can actually ride your horse all the way around the track. So you can see over here in red, this is the fourth position. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm the fourth horse in position. I'm actually on my horse right now, which is kind of crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm getting ready to pass this turkey. Where'd he go? Oh,
You're past them. Well, you know.
I'm catching Greco. Right?
Yeah.
Who's that though? That's passing me. You know, so like you have, you know, much more ability with this camera as far as looking at things, right? So let me restart it again. Okay, loads pretty faster. Steve wants to know, is that the horse's view or the jockey view? It's elevated, Steve. It's elevated, Steve. It's a good question, but you can tell by the camera it's slightly elevated. So I believe that is
The
I don't know.
jockey.
Let's watch it again because it is elevated. The horse's eyes would also be elevated. I guess it depends if you're zoomed in and zoomed out and in which way you're looking. But it's supposed to be the jockey's view. But it could be the horse. It does kind of like the horse view because of the way the head is. We'll look at it again. I'm on the jockey right now. See? I'm in the gate. Nah, it's definitely the jockey view. Look, I'm even with the.
Yeah.
I'm definitely jockey view. I'm even with the jockey. That's awesome, dude.
So what's the drone view then? Is that from up above, is it? Or
Yeah, I'm gonna restart this again. I'm gonna do it in the gate while we start. See how that looks. John says Greco here. Good job, fellas. Thank you, Greco. We appreciate it. Good having you around, bud. Let's look at the let's go back to the jockey view in the gate. Hold on. Definitely.
that's jockey, there's no doubt about it.
That's crazy. Look how good this is, man. Get off my back. Get off my back.
Can you put on a punch thing
Back
where you
up,
can
back
punch
up.
that jockey, you know?
Back off me. Right? So anyway, that's the jockey view. You have the trackside view is the same thing as that switching TV camera view. Okay, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool, right? But let's go to barrier view, which is like the below running camera, like that they use in Japan or whatever. It's pretty cool. You got the finish cam. Now, if you look closely on the finish cam, you can actually watch the race on the damn jumbotron. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild,
Yeah.
right?
So what's the drone view? Is that the overhead view then?
So the drone selections are different. So that's like your inside, outside. That's all like your manual stuff that you want to do, like inside, right?
Yeah.
Your inside view on the horses, behind, outside, in front, right? The one that
That's
Lee likes up top.
we have at the minute, yeah. That's like the one we have at the minute.
Whoa. Okay. But look at the screen right there. That's crazy, dude.
No, it's a good job now, it definitely is. Like there'll be some job when it's all finished and 100% right. Like
Well, you know, I got to tell you, Circle City says looks nice. Thank you, Circle City. I appreciate it, Ken. Jackie View, very cool. Yes. Steph, I agree. Stahl, it's very cool with the Jockey View.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, it is. It definitely is.
Huh?
It's 100% better. Like, you know, it gives you so many options when you're watching the race and all as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, exactly. Now they did it. They did a good job because, like, you know, one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to have that stadium experience, and we're still working on it. But basically, that's how the jumbotron and the finish line and that follow along camera basically was born. Because the original idea was, hey, if I'm sitting in the crowd, right? If I'm sitting in the crowd and I was watching a race at home, I mean, if I go to my local track and I'm watching a race, how would the race look like if I was sitting in the stadium, right?
Yeah.
So originally, we had a camera that was doing that, and that's how that trackside camera was born. We're like, you know what? Let's give the TV experience if you're sitting on your couch watching a day at the races, and this is what it would look like. So we just have to add a few more elements of that as far as like crowd noise and stuff like that to those guys, basically said that, hey, we can then show you a video within a video. We can actually show the Jumbotron working. Why have a fake Jumbotron and not use it? So like, there's a lot of good creative ideas that go into this. Now, when it's all said and done, Crispin says, good job. Isolate horse view. Isolate horse view. What do you mean, Crispin? What do you mean? Isolate horse view. Maybe he can elaborate just so I don't answer incorrectly. I'll wait for him just in case he replies. So follow horse. Isolate. Follow horse.
Yeah, but if you can isolate a certain horse by clicking on the horse's name, that puts you on that certain horse.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what. Let me load it up and I'll show that because. I think that's what he's talking about, right?
Yeah, if you click on the horse's name, it'll put you on that particular horse's back. So if you click on your horse's name in the race down the side, it'll put.
Right. He'll say whether that's correct or not. So you basically mean clicking on a horse, like Gary is saying, and on current viewer, click number, it follows a horse. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at that. So let's play this race again.
Yeah.
So let's let it run a little bit, and then we'll
go to Jockey View and go to Chrisman's or even Poncho's horse because that sat out the back and then came through the field. You know what I mean?
So, yeah. If I'm on Jockey View and I switch horses, let's go switch horse to number 7. See, Chris? See, it does. It isolates on a horse. So if I click to the bottom horse, the last place horse, this is the horse that's all the way in last place by 100 yards. And it switches just like the old one. Now, if I was in the camera views, let's go outside, and I want to click on the 5th down here, it moves it. So yes, Crispin, it does stay focused on the horse that you want. And then obviously all the 360 stuff and zoom in still applies depending on which horse you isolate it on. And that will work throughout any camera. So whether it's the top and I want to go to the first one, it's going to switch to the first one. That camera's a little bit off. I'll have to work on that one. But it's isolating to these horses, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it does do that. And then now, let's say finish cam. That's the coolest thing. I might make some changes to it, but I love how you can just watch the race from there. And you'll hear crowd screaming and yelling, photos popping off. You know what I'm saying?
Flashlights and all going on the cameras.
Yeah.
No, it definitely is a good job. Like when it's finished, it'll be fantastic. Like,
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that answered that one. Very nice. Ken says, thank you. Yeah, we're still working on it. So guys, listen, about the viewer itself. So listen, there's a couple of shortcuts I had to make just to get this out to you. So like we're going to launch it. We're going to launch it knowing that we have more to do. Not necessarily with like the race stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. Race engine, race flow, like all that stuff is 100% complete. We don't have no issues with that. Our stuff runs great. Our race engine is fantastic. It's probably the best in the industry, okay? We don't have the same game as others in the industry, but our race engine is legit, okay? Now, as far as it goes with the graphics, everything is fine with that. When I say, like, there's more to do, that means, like, artistically, graphic-wise, there's things that I want, okay, that I didn't budget in for this, but I know I want to do it, so we'll eventually get it in, okay? So we have a long list of things, like, like specific. I'll give you a perfect example. Specific track layouts for every type of track. I have new tracks that I want to do. I want to do a track in Dubai. I want to do the tracks in England. I want to do the track in Canada. And now I'm able to do all that now. Okay. Before I couldn't. Now I can actually do it. Okay. And bring it to you. So like when I say there's more things we want to do, it's stuff like that to personalize each individual track. And we will do that. So we have like 2, maybe 4 setups with this right now on our current game. But
Mhm.
when we expand, we look to expand out and make everything more personalized and bring more tracks to you. Now we can do it. I didn't want to continue to build a game where, let's say, we did a track in Canada, and let's say, and we used the same track layout as Belmont. Like, I didn't want to do that anymore. Like, I want like unique stuff that's specific to certain tracks and make it feel like home.
Yeah.
So
Well, you see, over here, Bob, would you be doing something like they have what they call the Shergar Cup here, right? Which is basically Ireland against the UK, against Europe, against the rest of the world, where
right,
they get teams together. Like you would maybe have, 3 UK stables, 3 Australian stables, 3 American stables. You know what I mean? On here, you could do the like of that. That might be something over the international tracks going forward,
yeah, absolutely.
And you could make
Absolutely. I
this
mean,
thing every season,
yeah.
just
No, I think,
food
look,
for thought.
there's quite a few things that we can do, and I think we actually kind of leaned into it a few seasons back. Like when we started adding the country flags to everybody's account and stuff like that. Like that was all like geared towards like, hey, having some more world type competitions, like team
Yeah,
events and stuff. So I
yeah,
think that that's definitely a possibility. I think that more state bred racing and specific things like that are more of a possibility. But honestly, the quicker like if the community got together and like created the concept for some of these things, it's much easier things for me to develop. I'm not going to kid you. All the while I believe I am an intelligent, the bottom line is that I sometimes I'm not going to think of everything. You know what I mean? And not all the best ideas come from me. Like if you have an idea where you want to race like that, country to country or whatever it may be, if someone can lay that out for me, then I get a better understanding of it. Then I can get it in programming. They can write it, and then we can roll with it, right?
I'm glad to see you've got the Union Jack flying at that track there, anyhow.
Yeah, because my original layout was for Ascot, and also I was looking at jump courses.
Yeah, yeah,
So, like for instance, that's the other thing that this Unity setup allows us to do. We can expand our game now if we want to, but I would rather fine tune what we already have.
yeah.
Right? We have a lot of cleanup work that needs to be done. I'm not going to kid anybody. We are definitely not a finished product. So,
Mhm.
and we'll keep pushing that direction. But yeah, those great ideas, Gary, they're the things that could keep push games and keep games grab more attention. They're cool ideas. I can't
Yeah.
think of them all. You know.
No, but what
So
I'm saying, even Tony's put up there is each individual track. Each individual track look different on the new viewer, like different color services, grandstand, circumference.
I
Distance.
look, it depends on what tracks we use. I know for sure the, I know for sure. Okay, let me just answer this basically real in a simple way. From a budget standpoint, and not originally planning on doing this project, okay, we are going to bring this to you guys in the best way possible that we can launch it to you guys, okay, to get it running, okay. And in order to get it running, we only went with, I think, 2 or 3 tracks, 2 or 3 layouts.
Yeah, yeah.
Is what I should say. But regardless, I mean, it all runs properly. But basically, if you look at the game, like I think it's Gulfstream and Santa Anita, they have their own unique layout. Like they're almost mirror each other. The standard track, not the Santa Anita off track turf or whatever, but the downhill turf. But the standard layout of Santa Anita and Gulfstream are pretty much the same. They don't have the same layout or design or circumference or whatever that Belmont, Parks, and Churchill do. Okay.
Yeah.
So we really stuck to that theme as far as at least on releasing the Unity first, was to make sure that those things match up. Like a Parks, Belmont, Churchill are matching up as far as their track layout, and that Santa Anita and Gulfstream are matching theirs. Now, in the future, then we will break it back out and build actual specific tracks. So, like for instance, we've already been working on this, Tony, in the background, but like the Parks track will be a replica of Parks. Okay. Belmont will be a replica of Belmont. Okay. What we have here and what we basically have launched is basically Digital Downs home track, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And there's 2 different versions of it for sure that you'll see. And we will run on Digital Downs tracks at Digital Downs until we take the next step and start building more specific detailed tracks for each type. And that point is the same time we'll build the Dubai, we'll build the Ascot, we'll build the damn, what's the one? It's escaping me up in Canada. Starts with W. Whatever.
Woodbine, no?
Woodbine. So yeah, thank you. So like, it's a step-by-step process. I thought it was best to do it this way rather than waiting 3-4 months to roll out a Unity just because I want to do a specific layout, right? We might as well get it rolling. And while this is rolling, we're building. So while you're watching, we're building. You know what I mean? And that's the way we want to go about it. So hopefully that answers your question, Tony. But in the future, it's going to be very specific and detailed.
Yeah. Jumps racing. You've talked about jumps racing and things like that there. What is your thoughts on all that? Like,
yeah, I think what I would like to do is add jump racing as an element to what we do here at Digital Downs. Possibly also add harness racing. Not sure. These two things I'm not very familiar with. Horse racing I am. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get it.
When I sit back and I go through a thought process of programming and how to roll things out or whatever, it's easier for me to do it from a horse racing standpoint because I understand it. Look, I'm not an expert on pedigrees. I'm not an expert on this. I'll never claim to be an expert, but I'm a horse racing enthusiast. I understand horse racing. I understand how it's supposed to work. Right. It's just a baseline. When it comes to jumping and stuff, I know nothing other than there's a jockey and there's a horse. Okay. That's it. As far as harness racing goes, I've watched it a few times. It's really not my thing. Okay. But I know each one of those areas, each one of those things have large customer base, like people that follow, they have, enthusiastic followings. So, the question is it beneficial to Digital Downs to bring those two lines in? Okay.
Yeah.
And if so, which one do you do first? And if you decide to do, let's say, jumping, since I don't know anything about jumping, it would require about 5 different things. Okay, it's going to require a group think tank. Okay, a knowledgeable base of this about what should be there, shouldn't be there, which to make it as more realistic as possible. Because at the end of the day, this is a skill game. This is not a gambling site. This is not a game of chance. Okay, this is all skill based. And when we build the jumping aspect of it, it needs to remain that way. Okay. So
the thing about jump is you have hurdles and you have chases. You have small fence, bigger fences. Then you have national hunt flat, and it's a whole
thing. And I don't know any of that. Okay. So like that think tank needs to bring that outline to us. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then how it should work. And then from there, you're going to race engine development, and you have to then incorporate a pipeline in and out, an engine development, and then an output for this as well. And then thirdly, once you match up the results, they have to work. And then once they work, then you apply graphics to it from a 3D visual standpoint. So that's the process that you have to go through. Now, all of it is accomplished. It can be accomplished. It will require capital investment, okay, without a doubt, okay? So I have to look at it and say, okay, is that something that's going to generate revenue? And when do I get a return on my investment? Right. Mm-hmm. So I believe that there is a return on the investment on that. Okay. So
I know jump racing is a massive thing in the UK. Like, I know it mightn't be such a big American thing or whatever, but jump racing over here, national hunt racing in the UK, I know it would probably get a lot of interest. That's from the UK perspective and Irish perspective,
Yeah. No, I mean, I believe it. I believe that. And that's what I'm saying. The worst thing would be to dump 50,000 into it and then you get no customers. Right.
Yeah. I get that.
Okay. So Ken asked, Tony says, sounds like a great plan to eventually mimic the traits of each racetrack. Yes, Tony, thank you. That's one of our goals, obviously, as we move forward. Ken says, so how would that work with the current horses? I mean, how does that genetic algorithm figure out trotters and pacers gait? So I don't believe that we would mix I don't have the answer for that. I understand what you're saying because I kicked that around actually the last few days. I know that the simple solution is not to mix the horses, not to mix the breeding platforms, if that makes sense.
Well, you would get the odd horse over here that runs over jumps and runs on the flat. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it would be very rarely, that sort of. Some trainers would send the jumps horses out in the flat to get them sharpened up for races and stuff like that, But they would be out running over a mile and a half. But you see, the thing about jumps races, they only start at 2 mile. You know what I mean? Where it would be a totally different cat by slow speed.
Right. So from a programming standpoint, I think the easiest thing to do is just to not even mix them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight down
you don't even mix them. Steve says offer the retire pacing option. I'm sure that's a possibility. So basically start with a new batch of historic great horses and go forward, I guess. Retire to pacing or retire to jumping. Yeah, see, like these are all good ideas that would come from a think tank. You know what I mean?
But see, jumps horses over here don't start really jumping until they're about 5 or 6 year old. You know what I mean? So a lot of jumps horses have come from the flat into the jumps. You know what I mean?
Right. So that may be the answer then. Who knows, right? So maybe it's the jump horses come from the retired pool.
Yeah.
The retired flat pool.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Even when a horse hits 4, instead of retiring it to breeding, move it over to the jumping spectre. If you have if you had a good router, or you could move it from the flat over into the jump pool, that sort of. But again, it's all something that would need to be discussed and put forward and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
These are all typing now flat out here.
Standard bred's a whole different deal. Yeah. And Steve says that would be a way to take a race horse that's struggling to retire and jumping.
But there's so many horses that have run on the flat and have done nothing, and they've went to the jumps over here and become stars,
Yeah. But this is why all you guys would get into a room together and hash this shit out. Because that's not me. You know what I mean? And
you put a load of us in the room together, end up beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, maybe. Because once I get the outline, it says, okay, this, and then that's when I go to development and working with programmers. Not even the programmer, going with the developers, and you say, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve. We need to make sure that all of these elements are in there, right? Yeah. And that's basically how it's born, and then you go from there. So it's something that I'm definitely willing to do.
Yeah. But I think you'd be safer focusing and getting everything right with your viewers and having concentrating what's in hand here first. You know what I mean? And then maybe 3 or 4 seasons, maybe down the line, maybe start putting the plan into action, when you have everything running smooth.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's it seems like it takes, it's funny when you set some of these goals that they seem so far away, but you start chipping away at it, and then it's amazing how close you get to it. You know what I mean? And the progress that you make. So
absolutely.
And it's been a real busy time for me. And I feel like that I've dropped the ball on certain things here and there. It's just it wasn't planned this way, but I have multiple large projects all basically coming to a head at once, and it's not easy to manage. And so I'm doing the best I can with it, and I'm missing certain things that need to be manual on the game, and I apologize for that. But I'm always here, so if something's forgotten, I'll jump on it and take care of it, and hope to never have to really in the future have to worry about that too much. But at least that I'm always here to take care of it. And I didn't plan to have so much to be working on at the same time. It just happened to all kind of end up that way. So I'm happy. Actually, I'm really happy about the race engine. I mean, we just invested a ton of money into that for the future, reinvesting into the game as far as like 64-bit and servers and all kinds of stuff, and just to protect us, long term. And that was a 3-year item, believe it or not. People don't realize that that's a 3-year thing that we're doing, and that's finished. Like I can't explain to you how good that feels, that it's basically coming to a head, that it's finished. It's so it's little stuff like that. And I don't mean like tweaking anything. We didn't change anything in as far as like the code and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with that. But there's a lot of little things like that. But again, when you have a plan for something for 3 years, I didn't have any idea that it would be coming to a head right now. At the same time that the Unity's coming to a head, at the same time the other projects come to a head. So I am a little bit all over the place, I gotta admit. So I do apologize if certain things have slipped. Like I know I owe vouchers for the handicap contest or whatever. You know what I mean? I'll get to it. I'll always be there. Send me a message. I'll take care of you. This is.
No, see, Stefan saying the same thing. They're from 4-year-old up. They're flat racers that go to the jumps.
Right. I guess that's kind of in line with what Steve was saying. Yeah, I don't. It's a good point, Stefan. I'm sure we'll hash all that out, right? Tony says, harness racing would be hard to develop as the track circumference is either half, 3/4, 5/8 mile ovals. Most jumpers are older horses that can run 2 miles or more. Those would be huge projects. Yeah, but the track, I honestly, it's like there's certain things like that we do that aren't as difficult as others. Like seriously, like the track stuff is really not that difficult to do. You know what I mean? That's like the easy part. The hard part is the programming around that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't like whether it was a straight line, because I don't, whether it was a straight line race or it was a half mile or a quarter mile, or whatever it may be. We can do all that, Tony. What's more important is everything that it impacts, like all the everything that impacts the race is what's harder to develop than the actual track size itself. A track size is just one element of, let's say, 1,000. You know what I mean? So,
look, it's food for thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it's not going to happen today or tomorrow,
Yeah, no, I mean, I've invested in. I mean, I already have the graphics. I bought the graphics for the jump courses.
Right.
So I think I told you that a while ago. I bought those assets a while ago. So I have the graphic stuff ready to do that. The next step is more from the programming and development side. And I honestly didn't want to do that because I knew I had the race engine project going on. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make no sense to work on the jumping stuff or whatever, knowing that you need the race engine while you already know that there's the latest race engine stuff is not available. So
but you see, the thing is too, with the jumps, a lot of them would start out over hurdles, which is the smaller jumps. And as they progress through their career, they come into the chase jumps, which are the higher jumps and things like that there. So there is a lot of aspects to the jump thing. You know what I mean? There's so much needs to be sorted and done.
I got you. That's why we got to put a whole team together, because it ain't. Anyway, listen, I have soccer tonight. We have indoor soccer. I got it ready to get to Newville Demons. Where we go? Right here, baby. Number 1. Number 1, dude.
You're like a gangster there. We are hot in your hoodie and all on.
We're going to go there. We're going to go kick the ass. We're going to do. We're going to go put some. We're going to basically go over there and bury a team. You know what I mean? They don't want that smoke. They don't want that smoke. The indoor stuff for elite for this elite program is pretty intense. So when you're in the States and you're watching football or soccer or whatever you want to call it, right? And you watch little kids and you watch them 9, 10 years old, whatever. I mean, you go watch in-house soccer. A bunch of kids kicking the ball around. Yeah. Everybody gets a trophy, all that stuff. That's not the stuff that we play. We play elite level programs, and no one gets a trophy except for the women. You know what I mean? And it ain't about little Johnny getting his playing time. If little Johnny ain't good enough, little Johnny's riding the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it can get pretty intense. And so it's fun. It's the indoor soccer stuff is a blast, especially at this level, because when you go watch a bunch of 10-year-olds and you see the kind of skill they have at that age, sometimes it blows you away.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Right.
So listen, Gary, I appreciate you coming on with me. It's just kind of, I had no plan to do this, so it's kind of cool just to jump on. Any last words there, bud?
No, all good. As I said, I'm going to go and watch my race and see how much money I lost tonight.
There you go. And like I said, thanks again. And my final thoughts on this is that we'll probably be releasing this Unity in a week or so.
Yeah.
And I could do it now. Thanks, Crispin. Crispin says great podcast.
Yeah.
Great group of guys watching. So like we could release it now, but I think a little bit more polish is needed. Obviously, you see that it works. You see that it works fine. You know what I mean? It's more about graphics and polish at this point, not necessarily results. And then we'll release it, and I think it's just one more objective met. It'll be a great tool for us to promote the game. And then obviously after it's up and running, people will critique it. They'll have their opinions, and then we'll probably formulate some type of response thread or something like that then we can address anything that you need to be addressed in the as far as the graphics go. So anyhow, guys, thanks again for watching. Thanks to all the members at Digital Downs that make this racing community so great. I'm very appreciative of everybody that's a member, people that help out with the podcast. That's all I got. So
Awesome.
Cheers.
See you all on the track soon, boys. All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.